My name is Alejandro Lopez, and this video is for introduction to the world religions. And my professor's name is John Ewing, and this is for philosophy 1304. And this is a worship site report. And the way we're gonna start is by mentioning the place of worship. The place of worship that I selected, it is called Dallas Chin Baptist Church. It is located at 9850 Walnut Street in Dallas, Texas. The zip is 75243. They do have a Facebook account, and it is a facebook.com Dallas SCBC/video, and they do have a website online, and it's www.dcbcusa.com. They also have an email account, which is dcbcusa@gmail.com, and this place, it is located in Dallas, Texas. The church has a mostly Chinese, the congregation is Chinese, so the religious tradition for this special site, it is a Baptist background, but the Chinese, they have a persuasion of Chinese, and the citizens are actually coming from a country named Burma, and the parishioners are what we will call refugees. So these are the first generation of Burmese Americans, and they speak very limited English. Their building, it has a European style on a small scale, and it appears to be a cathedral. It does have a steeple, like a needle point at the entrance, and their billboard, it does have Chinese inscriptions as well as an American explanation of the type of building. As a side note, I drive through there almost every day, and that is the reason that I chose that site, because it caught my attention seeing a Chinese, which is another subdivision, which is a Chin. I guess that's what you will call like a different subset of the Asian countries, and then it's from a Burma, from a Burmese country, and all of these being a Baptist in the United States got my attention. And another point is this church has an attached building, which is an academy for like elementary and junior high. So all of this got my attention, and that is the reason that I selected this site. This place, regarding the inclusive and exclusive, their services are specifically in Chin. The parishioners, the majority are coming from that country, to exception that the pastor and maybe a couple of people from the worship, for the musicians. So, and they also have like a choir, which is mostly composed by small children, and the services are not in English. However, their program, it is in Chin, and it is in English. It is mostly inclusive. It is mostly exclusive. They do perform some volunteering in downtown during the Thanksgiving day, and what they do, they go and bring meals already prepared for several of the homeless shelters in the downtown area, but they do not assist as a congregation. It's only the parishioners who worship there. They have a very interesting lobby, which when you go in, They have a lot of citizens from Burma dressed up in their typical attire, and that includes a lot of different ethnic groups from the country. And the pastor mentioned that all of these people they have like proselytized, they have become evangelized, and when they come to the United States, they start worshiping in an American way in their language, which I thought it was very interesting. The worship experience, they do have services on Sundays. They start at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And one of the most interesting parts is the pastor mentioned that their Sunday school, it takes place inside of the sanctuary, which is a really big place. And since their installation, their infrastructure doesn't count, doesn't have a special, like a separate particular room, what they do, they have their Sunday class inside of the sanctuary as part of their services. I did have an interview with the pastor. His name is Reverend Thai Leon. He mentioned he mostly caters the refugees from that country that I have mentioned, and he went ahead and explained the program of worship, which I thought it was very interesting. I am going to read just a few steps. The program goes like this. First, they open with an invocation or lecture of the book of Psalms. Then they have an opening prayer. Then they have a praise and worship. Then they come with the announcements. After the announcements, they have a section for greetings. And then they sing a song from a hymn book. Then they have another section after this part that is called the Lord's Prayer, which they pray the Lord's Prayer. And then after that, they start with the Sunday school. They do have a person that makes a speech as solo. And then the congregation stands up, and then they have a responsive reader. After that, they have a group song, which the whole congregation sings a different song, but not from the hymn. And then they come with the tithes and offerings. After that, they do have, as a congregation, they do have a prayer. And then they have another group song. After that, they bring the collectors to the front. They bless them. And then they have a sermon, the benediction, and then they close with the pastoral prayer and the farewell. This interview was very interesting because the pastor is very young. He serves several hundreds of parishioners. All these parishioners are actually newcomers. So he mentions this is extremely difficult for him as a pastor because the congregation sees him as a window into the United States, which everything he says, he has to be very careful because that's how the newcomers look at him, as a window of their new country. The pew is very homogeneous, and this is how he actually reaches the community. He multitasks by welcoming the newcomers. He Americanizes his congregation, and he preaches the word of God at the same time. So this is basically how he proceeds in this worship. And this concludes this worship site project. And I am going to include several snapshots in a video regarding the interview. Thank you.